Hi, this is Eddie Dexter, and welcome to the Constellation. I really should be in church this Sunday morning, but I have a horrendous migraine headache, and that comes that several things can trigger a migraine. One is um, certain foods that you eat. Two could be the lack of food. Um, and three would be the lack of sleep. So those are three of multiple factors that can affect a migraine from coming on. And let's just say that two of those three factors um, impacted me over this weekend. That's not to give you a wah wah story or anything of that nature. It's just letting you know what's going on. So, for those who believe in the word of prayer, keep me lifted up. And with that being said, let's get to it. I saw this is going to be a very brief, because I ain't feeling it. So, so it's going to be a very brief movie review of Captain America Civil War. And it's going to be spoiler free, of course, because I want you all to go out and see the movie without it being ruined for you. And I don't want you all coming after me as well. So here we go. Before I begin, I am so tempted to compare it to Batman versus Superman, The Dawn of Justice. I'm so tempted to do that, but the problem is I have not yet seen the movie. That is Batman versus Superman. And the reason why I have not seen the movie is that I simply have not been compelled to see the movie. And the reason why I haven't been compelled to see the movie, it was based upon the trailers that I saw. Now, now you may say, well, what kind of movie reviewer are you if you're going to be swayed one way or another by trailers? I'll understand that my time is limited. I'm undergoing some seismic shifts in my life, both professionally and personally. And so I have to gauge what's going to be worth my time. And if you're not aware, I'm also the author of a manga titled Noel. And I'm currently working on the second installation of that manga right now. So, in between my day job and uh, writing this manga, if I'm going to go to the theaters with my hard-earned money, it's going to be a movie that interests me, and if it's going to be a movie that I have a strong feeling is going to be a waste of my time, and I'm a writer uh, and an editor, a videographer, so I can say I'm a pretty good judge of what's going to be worth my while and what's not going to be worth my while. I'm not going to waste my time. Once things get rolling, then maybe I'll say, okay, I can go ahead and watch this as a more available critic. But right now, I just don't have that leisure. So, Batman versus Superman, when I looked at the trailers, I was like, this is a hodgepodge of activity. And I don't think it's worth my time to go see it right now, especially based upon Man of Steel, which I did see, and I enjoyed it as a standalone piece of movie making, but I did not enjoy Man of Steel as a Superman movie because it is the antithesis of who Superman is. Superman, yes, he may have had periods of angst and periods of struggle as he grew into his role as Superman. But ultimately, he took upon the mantle of savior of mankind with joy. And there was always an element in the Superman movies of some sort of joy. And that was utterly lacking in Man of Steel. On top of that, Superman had some sort of wisdom on, hey, let's take this outside. And in fact, in one of the Superman movies, I think it was Superman 2, when he was about to take on Zod and his friends, he said, hey, let's take this outside. Basically saying, let's take this someplace else. So even Goku would take his opponents someplace outside of a heavily populated area. So it's like the directors of Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman didn't care that hey, we're inflicting all this damage. And anyway, I digress. I just had enough experience from the first movie and from what I saw in the trailers to say that it's maybe I should wait, even maybe wait till it comes out on video, on DVD or digital, for me to watch that film. So that's a huge digression. I understand. I apologize. But with that being said, the temptation is there to compare Captain America Civil War to that movie, but I can't. But I have asked others who've seen the movie what they thought, how it compares, as in a superhero movie, um, the good guys against each other, and they basically said it had to do with the writing. And I really have to agree in the aspect that, and watching Captain America Civil War, my concern going into the movie was the title character is Captain America. And I was concerned that this was going to be an Avengers movie. Nothing wrong with that. I love the Avengers because of the reports that Robert Downey Jr. wanting a bigger role in the film. And I love him as an actor. He's an incredible actor, both in the action genre and in other roles as well. So him asking for a larger role, I don't think of him as being on an ego trip. So I'm cool with that. But in him doing so, my concern was, will this ruin, in a sense, this film being a Captain America um, movie story? And it did not. In fact, I think that by them fleshing out uh, Tony Stark slash Iron Man's role in this film more than what they originally intended, added more gravitas to the story. So, yes, you know that we can buy the title. It is a struggle, an internal conflict between the Avengers. Um, so again, I'm not going to give away storyline elements other than what you should already know, what you should already be able to extrapolate. So, with that being said, what I liked about the movie, um, it was written very very well. Um, there was an element of seriousness to it. It took the subject matter very seriously. There is a line in one of DC's favorite, famous um, series or famous properties. Who will watch The Watchmen? Well, basically, this question comes into play with Civil War. Who's going to watch these super powered, super enhanced, and super skilled human beings or other beings? And the writing, so excellent and presenting both points of view. And okay, I need to hurry up and wrap this up. Um, so first of all, the writing was absolutely outstanding. Um, the acting, of course, this is an ensemble cast. They know one another very well. So there's an excellent camaraderie, and you can feel the pain and the angst in them having to pick sides because they like each other or they get along with each other well enough where it's like, I really don't want to go up against you. You're my partner. And so, but they're convicted to pick a side. Um, and very, very well done. Then you have new characters that are that enter into the picture, if you will. Now, one character I'm going to say right now, and this is not a spoiler, not a spoiler. And if you think it is, you haven't been paying attention to any of the trailers that have been out. And so if this is spoiler to you, shame on you. Spider-Man in this film, he makes an appearance, and um, I there's been mention about his suit in the trailers, and they're like, well, with his eyes and everything. There's a logical explanation to this. You have to watch the film, but beyond the suit, this has to be the best rendition of Spider-Man ever, really. And I'm not saying that Tony Maguire was an awful Spider-Man. He was not. He was lovable. He was likable. He was relatable. But he was more like the Jimmy Stewart of Spider-Man. He just a old golly gee, boy next door kind of guy. And Spider-Man is a wise Alec. He's a smart Alec. Now that's Spider-Man, but Peter Parker is an awkward, shy teenager. So Tony Maguire in his portrayal of Spider-Man, his it even though there's one line that I love to quote from the original Spider-Man series when Tony Maguire's Spidey says something like, I can't do that, Chief. For me, I don't know why that sticks with me, but it does. Well, but that's about, for me, as smart Alec as Spidey gets, but his tone is still just, likable, courageous, yes, but likable guy next door. Now, then you have the following Spider-Man, Andrew. I want to say I can't think of his last name. Please forgive me, Constellation stars. But the second generation, I want to say Garfield, Andy Garfield or Andrew Garfield. He was to me. He's now, I would say, he was closer to who Spidey was, but he was the other end of the pendulum. He was he always cracked smart, whether he was Spidey or whether he was Peter Parker. Now, the scenes where he, in the first movie that he played in the role, he was absolutely adorable with playing against the young lady uh, who was Stacy Gwynn, and I don't know why. Again, forgive me. My head is throbbing. I need to wrap this up. But those two, the chemistry they had was outstanding, and they were just so charming together. But even with that, he was still a wisecracking teenager. He wasn't like, oh wow, I'm just a helpless kid. I'm a goof. I'm, well, not a goof, but I'm an awkward teenager, maybe a bit nerdy, maybe a bit geeky, but at best, I'm just awkward and I don't feel comfortable within myself. Okay, this Spider-Man in Captain America: Civil War. Oh wow. Okay, so he gets it, or the writers get it, wherein they have him very much like an awkward teenager who's just trying to fit in and trying to find himself. And then as soon as he puts on his gear, then something switches, and he's this nonstop talking, wisecracking, irritating teenager. It's like, okay, the writers get it. They know who Spider-Man is. They know who Peter Parker is, and they know that it's an alter ego. That when Peter Parker puts on his Spider-Man gear, it releases all inhibitions, and it allows him to be free, and it allows him to be that wisecracking, confident, cocky guy that he wishes he could always be. So, really well done, excellent writing, and the acting by this young man nailed it. So, yeah. So, the writing, the acting, outstanding. Things I didn't like about the movie, I will say that the first, I would say that the first act of it was a little slow. It dragged on a bit for me, and it slowly, um, it slowly escalated. But then when but it does gather steam. So for me, I would say the only issue I had to be the first act. And you may say when you see the movie, wow, there's plenty of action in the first act. Well, you could say, yeah, but the first act seems an awful lot like a Jason Bourne movie, which is to say nothing in the least because I dig Jason Bourne, but I'm here to watch a Captain America movie. So I'm here to watch um, people with superpowers do super things. And so beyond the first action beat, after that, it's a very slow boil. I'm going to tell you this: the action there's a nice blend of CGI and practical special effects, and they did an excellent job in blending the two disciplines. And so, kudos to the production staff of this film. Wonderful job. Again, for the writers, I cannot praise them enough. And the reason why is that you, my friends, are in for a literal jaw dropping treat. I thought that the big battle was going to be the climax. Nothing will prepare you for what you will see in this film. And it may even change the MCU forever. And it may even change the Marvel comic book universe forever. If this is actually written in the comic book, I have to go over and make sure that I'm boned up on this. But if it is, it changes everything. So my mouth nearly hit the floor at the climax of this film. And I was surprised. I was surprised to find it so emotional. And I dare say that you will be surprised too. So there's my review, spoiler free, of Captain America Civil War. You owe it to yourself to see it. I intend to see it again, the good Lord willing. But right now, the time is far spent. I've taken some medications, but for my migraine, but I really need to lay and be still, and hopefully, I'll feel well enough to join everyone else in worship today. So, whatever you're doing, whether you're in the house of worship or if you're at the beach with mom or wherever you are, please tell your mother if she's still with you. Tell her that you love her because you only have one mom. So tell her that you love her. And if you don't, if you never knew your mother, and you have a mother figure, please, whoever is that mother figure in your life, let them know that you love them. Shower the ones that love you with love today, okay? All right. This is Eddie Dexter here, Eddie Dexter Stewart, in the Constellation, and we'll see you next time.